Greetings to the family. This is Black Lotus Connection, formerly known as Black Lotus Civilization, giving you a live stream to let you know that the Black Lotus Connection is back and fully functional, but
Okay.
also versus the conscious community. Greetings, Brother Waterman.
Greetings, greetings.
You already know, family. So, I just wanted to cover a very, very short span of time and go over the information of the conscious community, the direction they're going, and what's really happening in the world. You know, there's stuff going on in the world today that is going to devastate our future. Stuff going on in every single country, every single type of organization, every single system. There's conflict right now. And I find it odd that we have these brothers and sisters who are coming out in the name of the conscious community. And the reason why I'm talking about it in this way is anybody with the name conscious, if they fail to realize that it was created by Christians in South Africa. That being said, the only consciousness that we have in America really spawns off of the whole Alex Jones, David Icke, Michael Sarian, and those names and such. So if we see this, that after 9/11, this whole conscious community in America thing really like explodes. And then what happens is a brother, might be a sister involved too, decides to capitalize off of our people. Since this time, brothers and sisters have watched other brothers and sisters coming as if they are of authority to various cities, and they're doing these lectures and this, that, and the third. These brothers and sisters are not talking about what the conscious community was about. In South Africa, they were fighting against oppression. Well, what did they do? Man, they lost their lives. They fought, and the ones that survived fought for their freedom. I find it very odd that with the message that the brothers and sisters were putting out at that time has nothing to do with the message that the so-called conscious community or those that are involved with the conscious community put out today. So then we get to 9/11, and after this 9/11 situation, it's about exposing the government. It's about exposing the people who are controlling everything. I don't hear anybody that's in the name of the conscious community talking about the government, talking about anything relevant to what they're doing and what they're planning on doing. So I just wanted the family to hear first from Black Lotus Connection to watch out for Vision 2020. They're going to give you all these names of all these different organizations. Supposedly you're going to do this, and they're going to tell you about all these different train routes that go to some type of FEMA camp prison that's full of caskets and all these different things. They're showing you this. They're letting you know something. And if you can't understand it and you can't see it for yourself, then that's on you, not on me. Because this is the conscious community. You're supposed to have this knowledge. Conscious community had nothing to do with coming from some damn monkeys or coming from the same species as the monkey. It had nothing to do with who is the best chematologist who can speak this meta language the best. It had nothing to do with being a Hebrew and who could get the best Mesopotamia rhetoric out there to expand the delusion. It was nothing about Mecca and Islam or wars or any of these things of the sort. It was strictly about being oppressed, no longer being oppressed, and removing that which oppressed them. So we really need to wake up, family. I just wanted to open it up on that and have a little short dialogue. You already know. Brother Waterman, a little insight on the
Well,
situation.
I was brought into this conscious community on these HGOs. I mean GHOs, GHOs, because that's what it's come into. Um, through Lex Vortex, and he was telling me how he was disputing with these brothers, and it was really on a biblical sense. And I said in the beginning that it was strictly a miscommunication of a bad translation. And now you have totally described that miscommunication of a bad translation. Anytime that someone gets a hold of something that is pure, which is considering us to wake up to a situation that is ongoing, has been going, and put it on its ear, it seems like there's always a group that comes along and turns it in another direction. And those who don't agree with that seem to get ostracized. Brother Rael was just on In the Black, and he's describing how he was dispensed from HOK, and some of the things that are going on there. And he described it in detail, so I would suggest that everybody, when they get a chance, go listen to that video, Rael, on In the Black media. Okay? You'll start getting some insights on how this easily gets derailed, how people are ostracized, how people are called agents, and how can someone sit there and call someone an agent unless they themselves know what it is to be an agent. That's ear for thought. But at the same time, as my brother Lotus here is expressing, that should be focusing on our problematic at hand, what's really going on in our communities, how we have been decimated, how Planned Parenthood has attacked our community, how our women's minds have been tainted and poisoned to think they don't need us, even to the point where having children by themselves, and we have not remedied that situation. We're being bombarded by such a gamut of fracturing of our family system to the point where we even think that every time a word comes out, that we cling to it without even knowing what it means in its origins. Me and Lotus have been trying to give this rally cry to understand origins, or how to connect the dots, how to bring this to presence. This is how it's coming to fruition. I myself and IMU Nation is dealing with crisis, emergency, evacuation, prevention, which is a program called KEEP. Okay, I spell crisis with a K, and I spell it for reasons. So many of us will end up being killed if we do not prepare for any and everything that could happen, with not only within our family but our environment. So once again, we are being trapped into this rhetoric of speaking about religions and dialogues about things that took place way back when our ancestors were doing things. They were making stories. They weren't sitting there rehashing old stories. Yes, the rituals and the rite of passages will always be that. It happens even in your family, from father to son. That is something will always be. From mother to daughter, it will always be the rite of passage from childhood to adult. Those are natural processes. And then there are some that are more elaborate in the traditional way. But it does not mean that we can always go and tell someone that what you have read in a book is greater than what I read in a book, considering you have to go to the source who wrote the book, who funded the writing of the book, and who actually allows the book to be published. These are the things which destroys all and anything that anyone would say about what I got is the real deal. So I'm going to turn this back over to Brother Lotus, as I made my small diatribe on this incredible increasing ignorance of called awakening, as if people are being derailed into some type of mysticism, and it comes from the places where mysticism was created.
You already know, family. It's almost to the point where it disturbs me. It's almost like all this is one big attentional distraction to keep us really focused on things that really don't matter, just like you mentioned, focused on the past. Now, it's funny that, brothers and sisters, they're talking about evolution and bones and all this type of stuff, but then they mention that our ancient ancestors, they didn't look for these things. Our ancient ancestors weren't out there digging for their ancient ancestors, that basically people that are out there digging for their ancestors or something. I don't know if it's an indirect shot or whatever, but Dr. Ben said you have to get in the field and do some field research. You're trying to find the smallest thing. Now that's a paraphrase. So if that's what the Grandmaster teacher said, I don't see why everybody else is not doing that. Okay, so we think of this and we say, Ben, it's not taking on the lead of digging up the bones and getting down to the ancestors and finding the new tombs, showing the brothers and sisters something that's new, finding tombs without alterations so they can show the higher, without palimpsest. So that's just that. Now we're dealing with the thing of the homosexuality and the conscious community as if the thing wasn't prevalent, as if the thing did not exist before. This is a problem in our community. It's not going to take care of itself. Proper plan of policy to put an end to the whole thing and to get it, or at least stay on it. Then yeah, what is it? That means that literally, okay, it is a distraction. So instead of us being focused on what's happening, what's going on in our economy, what's going on with the future of our people, who set a plan for our people? Who gave our people a future plan? All I know is Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark sat together and said that the elders have failed us, then said we're at a fork in the road, right? So at this fork in the road, instead of us being focused on being globally responsible ourselves, instead of waiting for a scientist to tell us to do it, we
bro, you're breaking up.
We need proper guidance. We need proper guidance. You hear me better?
I think you're breaking up because you're moving around.
Let me get it set. All right, so we need guidance on proper direction. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly now.
Perfect. So we get this guidance. We get this direction. I'm not going to say any specific name, even though I'm a part of the Ethiopian World Federation, but I'm saying we got to start somewhere, get something going, and do something now. So there's a thing called Vision 2020. I'm going to call it a thing, but it's called Vision 2020. So Vision 2020, basically, their plan is to change the landscape, the whole, in the way that we see the classism. They want to change it, and we are not a part of the plan after the change. So if I can see this, and my vision cannot see past the distance my eyelids can see, and if I see this in foresight, so they're to be the only thing that we're talking about.
We didn't get the last of that, bro, because you're breaking up.
What I was saying was we should really, hold on, family, let me get this set again. All right, we should really take our time, observe our situation, put together a council to see the proper direction for the future of our generations. I see for 70 generations. So their Vision 2020, to break us down, that means that by 2020, we should have a total detached plan. I have to say it like that. A total detached plan to remove. Let's not wait for them to remove us. Let's not wait for something out of a book to remove and fix the situation. We need to be responsible for ourselves. So, what is our plan? I mean, on the table so far, we have Baja. Okay, Vision 2020, that's going to change the table. So we have to put together our plans to really show global responsibility. Let's stop showing financial responsibility or just that you can flash all this money and buy all these fancy things. Let's stop who can outbite the white man with the white man's knowledge and who can do a dissertation on the white man's knowledge really coming from Africa at the same time. Let's stop all that. What's our evacuation plan? Like Brother Waterman said earlier, we need plans like that. We don't need the plan on reading the hieroglyphs. We don't need a plan on, oh, who can have the best political movement within the white society. No. We need our own. We're going to have politics. We need our own politics. If we're going to have a constitution, we need our own constitution. We need our own everything. And we can't do it alone. It's another thing. If we're thinking that we're going to be able to do these things alone, then we're really looking silly. We're yelling black African power and all these other things, but all these different Africans from different African countries that are out here in America, I watch the brothers and sisters that are coming out here living in my own state, and they are prospering. They all support each other. Why? Look what we're doing. We're not showing no type of global responsibility. We confused. I mean, you listen to the music, I want you to hear it. This is the best thing that we bring to the table. Music and sports. That means that we went from inventions before we were going to school. All are inventors. Invented things that are being used today that benefit humanity. Not one of them went to Alpha, Gamma, or any of these MIAKA secret homosexual societies. They didn't have to join any of this. They built, they made, they created. They weren't sitting around waiting for the next scientist thesis to be put on the table for them to understand what they're going to make. We didn't come out of being civilized and being in a state of greatness. We were under pressure. We were in slavery. And we did those great things. And then when we bow out and cow out like some global cowards and introduce our own selves into the system as if we're going to outwhite the white man. So I'm meeting at two corners. We got the 9/11 motherfucking thing. Excuse my language. And we got the Black Power thing. Are there any of these Black Power movements talking about an inventor or something? I hear all these brothers talking about blood DNA and E1, B1, C1, 3-1, 1,000 different binary codes that when you ask them what can they do with it, they can't do nothing. But are they giving any shout outs to Charles Drew? No. We're sitting here wasting our time. Wasting time. So what is our plan? If it's not build something, I tell all the brothers and sisters, especially those out there flashing money and doing all these lectures going to the state, where's your facility? Where's your facility in Africa? You from the islands and you don't care about Africa? Where's your facility back on the island? Huh? Once you do videos to do your stuff over there. Once you get, as we say out here, you can go and let us deal with the situation. Because out here in LA and Cali, we're going to put this whole conscious community back in check. Y'all getting the real, bringing together the North and the South. The real Norman palette smashed down on all these different things going on in the conscious community that are deliberate distractions. So now you're going to get that work. And yeah, it is our responsibility. Man, it's like I said, you take the world, you pour it out, and everything lands in California. We got a piece of everything. We got land in California alone that can grow almost everything. We're feeding a big time percentage of the world. The only ancient civilization ever, y'all want to fall for that Native American nonsense, wasn't nothing going on over there like that. It was all on this side of the planet. Let's secure what we know we can secure. Put out a real policy and put out a real plan. Create our own constitution. If we want a political movement, create our own politics, our own political movement. Let's have our own president of whatever we want to call this country. Separate ourselves. If you guys want to have it, like I prefer total detachment. That means that we need to knock all that out. We don't need no leader. We need to all become leaders. So, Brother Waterman, I wanted to make it short and really down to the point. But family, any insight for the family today? You think this is a real message that really needs to get out? They can know that we're serious about our people.
There's one thing that I think that we need to draw up is the fact that we have to understand we've been profiled. Even if you look back on the continent and even on this continent, how easily we were profiled due to our vanity of wanting to look good and express that, in which a lot of us are claiming is our spirituality. Those ceremonies that took place were actually taken upon our Achilles heel because they knew that our strength came from those rituals of gathering together and showing types of spiritual or inner being or higher being self as we tried to connect to those worlds, which could not be understood by the Europeans or the Europeans, okay? But at the same time, they saw how we dressed up for those rituals, and we competed in how we dressed up. And it's still taking place today in all of our communities. There are brothers and sisters who can't pay their rent, but they look fly. There's brothers and sisters who can't even pay their bills, their utility bills, but yet and still they're in a brand new car. They're wearing jewelry, and they're wearing the latest fashion. So all these things are part of the vanity they saw and our rituals that we did in competing in those traditional rituals, and we have not figured out that that's how they used it against us, because they used think tanks. And it was described, one brother this past week described how the organization of, what is that called, the Masons, was considered to be nothing other than a think tank, where they got together in the lodges and they went about business at hand on how to control the world around them. Okay, so now that shows who and what draws lines on what end, because as those traditional spiritual or gatherings that they would have to express their homage, and they weren't using it as a way of sitting around figuring out how they were going to control the environment or anything. They didn't do that. What they did was they got together and they celebrated. Since they celebrated, guess what? Look what happened. They used all those things against us, and it still is happening today. That's the reason why they control our music, and they changed the music. Now the music has no inner feeling to it. It's all digital and it's all crappy, And if you listen to it, it will disturb your mind because it's set at certain frequencies. So the more we sit up there and think that we look good and we sound good, and when we think we are being portrayed as being on top of things, we're being used no more than the old days of Step and Fetch It. Better yet, to be honest, it's worse than Step and Fetch It. It's the monkey and the guy with the box winding it up. The man doing the little trick to drops because we don't control anything. But yet and still, I would say to this day, you guys get rid of that jewelry, sell it, put cash in your, okay? Send it to IMU Nation for a donation to create us a community down in Baja, California, and Baja Sur, okay? Let's get all our so-called leaders together, and if they can't sit there and hold conference with the powers to be and reparation to give us the total state of California all the way down to the tip of Baja and Baja Sur and the surrounding islands. That is the only retribution that we should be discussing in this so-called conscious community, not literary things. That's a trap door. We're being sucked in. And the cats that are doing this, they know damn well that they've been hired by this boule system to do that because they want to put everybody in debt in college going to college, so if you go to college, you're in debt. That way you have to buy a house. You have to do all these things, and you have to keep the lie going. See, that's why it's a trap door. And all them cats that are into it and know that, and those who don't know, now you do know. So you don't have an excuse anymore either. So here it is. This is Waterman putting it down with Black Lotus connections, the dots on the dot.
That's right, family. Now, we wanted the family to get this message and then, make sure it's loud and clear that, we're here to put this policy, this plan together. We're not just here to talk about it. Responses, and everybody can say whatever they want to say. Since May 25th, we've been sponsored by many organizations. They don't have an excuse. If we have elder space age stuff and all these different things, and we have organizations out here doing for the future, I'm gonna have to really shun my East Coast brothers. Say I don't care if you're an elder or just starting. I'm going to shun you off. Because you're basically feeding the problem. And now y'all bringing the youth into the problem. When I saw the youth coming into this whole conscious community thing, I was excited. But now you're telling me that the youth that basically came in to do debates against each other and then drag the elders into the thing to really drive them and, come in position to debate each other. At the end of the day, these debates are useless if they're not creating a better situation for our people. If our people change their minds after they leave the debate, do they make any progress in what they promoted in the debate? It just seems they do these debates and then they say, I won a debate. You lost a debate. It's not about learning. It's not about why they had a disagreement. It's just about ego to fuel the, I don't care what they want to call it, but they call it the 10 black elite. And it seems to be keeping everything within one little circle and one little cycle. So if these people are being funded and they're bringing this nonsense and all this confusion, then you have brothers out here on the West Coast, LA area to be specific, we're out here really doing it. We're feeding the homeless, helping the brothers and sisters on the streets who can't take care of their responsibilities because they have a disadvantage. We have gardens. We're connecting with brothers and sisters with farms. We have movements. We have the Ethiopian World Federation. We have the Brother Waterman with the IMU Nation. It's like, why not put funding into something that's really supporting all of the communities? Why are they putting money into some young brothers to go debate each other? Why are they sponsoring these things? So whoever is really the person who is moving the cards around, that's my focus. That's the reason why I was able to break down the information that the conscious community did not have until I shared it. That's the reason why the brothers and sisters are at disarray and now have a direction to go when they see a lot of the lies that have been created. People that can't stand me will call me a great researcher, but then they want to beat my brains out if they see me. Obviously, these people are benefiting from the confusion. They're benefiting from the debates. They're benefiting from the lies. So, out in the LA area, no fly zone. You're not coming correct, check your ass out at the LAX. Brother Waterman, we're going to sign out. Share a message for the family as I shut it down.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to remind everybody we had a great build on Virtue TV yesterday. If you get a chance, going in on that, There was a thing on In the Black with Royale. I suggest that you listen to those things because what we're expressing is getting down to the nuts and bolts on how to make this community what it was meant to be, which was to remove the oppressed and depressed state of our people. That's what it's about. If it's not about that, then I guarantee you, you get some snake oil salesmen and some step and fetch and stuff spoon fed to you down your throat, and you're becoming mysticized behind it to the point where you will actually turn on each other, which is taking place in our community and within our families. So take note of that. This is from the Waterman of IMU Nation.
That's right, family. You know, there's much more that could be covered, but I want to keep messages short and to the point for the family. So I will be shutting down the show. And until next time, I mean, I really have no slogan or anything to say, but Milambo Operation Restoration Earth, Global African Supremacy, Ethiopian World Federation, Garifuna Stand Up.